What's up, YouTube? Take two. It's a philosophy video about what it means for me and my EDC to carry some brass knuckles, how it kind of changes my landscape as far as what I'm expecting, what I'm looking for, how I'm going to apply my stuff to the world. I want to say first and foremost, never forget to be a good neighbor. My neighbor dropped by. He needed to borrow a cup of sugar. Is that what they say? Cup of sugar. You know, I live in the hood. You can probably imagine. You can use your imagination. But he wanted to borrow something. So I hooked him up, nice kid. I like to be friendly with people that I know aren't total scumbags. All right, anyway. But so, I mean, this whole EDC, part of it, I feel like, as far as EDC being prepared, is community, obviously. It's just really, really hard to get there. Especially if you're constantly worried about what essentially amounts to a beer worth of money in a bar. Anyway, so it lets my knives be just knives. So this is from the Very Good Knife Company. It has one of the old non-laser engraved. He was using some other way. The gentleman that runs it, who looks like, well, he looks okay. Listen, if I ever make fun of you, if I really didn't like you, I would just say terrible shit about you. But he looks like a washed up 70s porn star, like an extra for Boogie Nights that like wandered off set and started making knives. All right, anyway, sorry about that, bud. But no, so this, when I've got this, and I have it pretty much all the time, all of a sudden the knife that I'm carrying, it doesn't need to be defensive oriented at all. Because I have this on me, right? And this is a great little piece. I forget what it's called. It is basically the Very Good Knife Company's version of a small fixed blade. Kind of reminds me of a Bradford, but a little bit more aggressive with the clip. And made of a knife seal that I like. Although AEBL, or whatever it is, has grown on me a lot. So I think it's a good steal, honestly. But so is, I think the EDC R2V is just more accessible. It's like a little bit less expensive. Anyway, so this can be a knife, and it rolls downhill. So like sometimes the actual pocket knife I'm carrying doesn't have to be like this. This for me, when I don't have one of these, I start to carry this, which is basically a super capable traditional pocket knife. I don't carry anything with clips. So if it's got a clip, not an multi-clip, but if it's a clip attached to the knife, I'm not going to carry it. I think it's just garbage. If you like it, that's great. There's more for you. But so this is like so capable. I could see this being ruled out. Another way to look at it would be, like some of the bigger French knives that I have that like a shepherd would carry as their primary mode of cutting things. Things that are just ultra useful, very utilitarian. But if I'm just doing my thing, what I like to have is the knuckles, and then this can just be a very capable knife, and then I usually will rock a smaller blade for my pocket knife, folding knife. Kind of depends on the setup, but that's kind of like the more mainstream. I'm bumming around town. But so then, I'm always gonna have mace on me. Right, it's always going to be there. I literally always have it, except if I'm jogging, basically. And then I've got on some knuckles on me that are made of bulletproof glass that weigh literally nothing. So you've got this as the main deterrent, right? It's a deterrent. It's really what it is. I've never seen the actual stuff that is OC and CS combined not work separated. You're going to run into outliers eventually, and that's not what you want. So you're going to want to spend the whole $10 to get one of these. And buy the half can. The full can is like twice the size. You're just never going to need it. And seriously, unless you're really going at it with like a rival gang, you will never need the full thing. Even as a bouncer that mace people all the time, the full thing would last forever. So the half thing, I think, is more than adequate for the average person. I've not used up a half one yet. I will say after about 5 years, I toss them. But anyway, so this is like the main thing. So we got this, And then we got these things here, and these are kind of, you're putting the hurt on people now. This is not, is it a deterrent? Sure. But this is, we're inflicting damage. They probably don't know I even have this because I pulled this out and I'm macing them. They might be blind and just coming at me. The only times that I reveal what I have is when I'm trying to get crackheads to go away. Literally off of the property where I live. Then it's like, all right, well, look, you got a jet. I have these things, and I'm going to use them on you if you don't leave right now. And then they do. So I think that's worth it. Obviously, whether you're rocking an SF single finger knuckle or a double finger knuckle or a full size knuckle duster with a palm brace, this would be more of a palm swell, like the paddle kind. That's going to offer like a spectrum of kind of where you're going to operate at, right? Because you're going to have these EDC items that you want to operate. You want to be a person in the world. It's interesting that like the word operator, it does denote, a special forces person, but that's not really, I mean, for civilians, that seems to be what they think. But in reality, I mean, like if I'm a machine gunner in Iraq, I'm operating. Like I'm literally, that's what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Whether you're one bearded monkey with, the M-biter, or you're some grunt just trudging around trying not to get your head blown off, listening to your sergeant scream at you all the time. That's what they do. They operate. So it's for, anyway, you're trying to operate in the world, trying to do your thing, and you have these philosophies you have of use, you have these escalations that you're going to use, you have all these things that are going to keep you almost like SOPs are going to keep you on track. So this is I always have this on me. It is the Fang from Steel City Cutlery. Still an amazing piece of gear. I haven't had to use this. Thank baby Jesus. Because if I did that, people would be getting smoked. This is basically for if I get either last ditch or I get very, very surprised and somebody does the whole like, oh, I know jujitsu, so I'm going to wrap up with you. And this is actually really tight. It's just that I wax them on the inside, or else it's just insane to get these things in. For like the Kydex sheaths that are basically just folded over like this, where there's a lot of contact, I almost think you'd have to wax them. So I've got that. I'm always going to have this on me. I'm always going to have this on me. Where we're seeing, where the leeway is impact stuff, which is going to be the main modus operandi for putting the hurt on people. That isn't this. This is really going to hurt though. But the thing is with this, and hear me on this, guys, you can wash this off. I've maced well over 100 people. Not that it's really that cool. I was just a bouncer at like terrible clubs that you would never want to work at. But the people that I would hook up with this, they would go home and take a shower and were fine. That is so much different than hitting them with this, or maybe potentially using this, or using it. It's just a different thing entirely. So this is why, for me, after telling someone to stop, after being like, hey, maybe they get in your face and you push them off, then all of a sudden it is, all right, well, now we've entered a realm where, I've used verbal, I've used physical, now I'm going to use chemical, and we're going to continue to go up the escalation, the ladder of force that I almost always adhere to because it works so well. And also where, say, something goes really, say the worst happens, somebody pulls a knife out, now I have to, make career-ending decisions for this person. Career-ending is like how people refer to killing people a lot of the time. But yeah, then I can say, Your Honor, how can you say that I was negligent? How can you say that I was grossly whatever? Like, I defended myself, and I even, the way I escalated force, my application of force made sense the entire time. This person had a chance to walk away. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I would also, honestly, if I were to mace somebody and they're stumbling around trying to find me, I'm really going to hook them up then. But I'm going to probably fall back a little bit and just watch and see what they do. And probably just leave them alone on it, because it's just going to take the fight out of them. But no, I wanted to kind of talk about how, I need to focus more. I just want to talk about how this really did allow for me to carry different knives and knives that are not totally defensively oriented. Does that mean I wouldn't carry a dagger for Pical potentially, like a small one? You know, it's like that, or like, you know, that is the blade, but or something of that nature. No, I'm not saying that. I have plenty. I mean, look around my channel. I have plenty of Bowie knives, at least for my mind. I look at all those things. You know what I mean? I have the defensive weapons. It's just that they are not. You know, you want to be inconspicuous. If you, whether you think of it as like, oh, a gray man philosophy, or simply a philosophy of, I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to just do my thing. I don't want to draw attention to myself. It's so if you have a giant defensive knife or a defensive knife that looks like a fighting knife, people are going to potentially see it. That's kind of why I like the abdominal carry with these style of small fixed blades, be it Bradford, this one, or whatever, you know. But yeah, so, and then say if I don't carry this, I'm going to be carrying a bigger, more capable folding knife, like especially like this one for actual work, just because it's got this G10 is super grippy. It's got this for cardboard and rope, and then it's got, I hardly ever notice this until I go to use them. If at any point I'm scraping or prodding or doing anything, it's all, I never have to make an effort to use the plain edge, is what I was saying. But then, I mean, this is why I've really enjoyed, okay, oh, by the way, I need to keep speaking. As far as saps, blackjacks, and other stuff like that, or potentially, you know, defensive blades, I would have them on top of this. Because for me, it's, if I, you know, it's almost like being super duper prepared when you have a fighting knife or a big knife, or maybe the fighting knife to you is a small dagger. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know, you know what I mean? But either that or, you know, a sap or a blackjack, even if you're carrying a small one on top of this stuff, you're very ready to go. So that's where you can kind of get into, I wouldn't carry this, I would carry a cable jack. Or I wouldn't carry, you know, you have all these different things. But then you also have to kind of weigh it against the laws in your area. The laws in my area are the same way they are in like 22, 23 other states that are constitutional carry, which meaning you can carry pretty much anything. And I mean, I get that some people, you definitely don't want to spend the night in jail because it sucks. But what I wouldn't do is base your life on what a cop is going to like. Because when you get to court, a judge isn't going to be concerned with what a cop likes, because even if that judge doesn't like it, he isn't going to, it's not worth the judge's career. Because if a judge just flagrantly throws everything to the wind, you can report them and get them pulled. I don't know, you know, I'm not saying that it's like necessarily as easy with a lawyer, where it's, you know, if they're acting out of order, you can get them disbarred pretty easily. But no, what I'm saying is, goddamn judges. I'm just saying the law is going to trump people's. So whether or not, you know, a cop is like, I don't like this, I don't like the brass knuckles, that's okay. You know, and no one has to like what I do. As long as I'm within the bounds of the law, then it's none of their business, really. Even if it's not their business. But what I would, and I will continue to kind of speak about, is that everybody should get their permit to carry, if you can, at all. I think it's just a wise move. Because then not only then does it kind of clear up the whole, well, technically, can he carry this? It also allows you to do you know, you get a little bit more leeway, let's put it that way. As far as like, oh, this is happening, is he okay to have this here? Obviously, there's going to be like hard no's, but I just think it's wise. But yeah, so I'm definitely going to keep carrying impact weapons. They make great self-defense tools, especially with this. I would say with this and this, if the other people are unarmed, I mean, your success rate is going to be over 90%. It's probably going to be over 95%. Statistically speaking, it's going to be a for sure thing. Let me put it that way. I mean, you would really have to mess it up and not know what's going on or what you're doing. But then when we're talking about fighting with these, in a defensive manner, never in an illegal manner, when you're fighting with them, it's going to come down to crowd control, crowd management in a way. And a lot of that's going to be whether or not you've trained it or whether or not you have kind of the sense to know. It's not rocket science, I will say that, so you should be okay. Because for instance, talking about space, when you're in fire teams in your room clearing, or even when you're operating outside and you're taking fire or sending fire downrange, but no matter what's going on, you guys, everybody in your team will spread out naturally because the firing of the weapons, the percussion, and the sound is pretty loud. And it's going to naturally push people out and away from each other. So some things are going to happen naturally, even when it is, obviously there's kind of a different thing, but I would say when you eventually get more than one of these things, I would take one out in the woods and mace a tree and just, these are things that you're going to want to play with a little bit. Because I've been, I don't know if lucky is the right word, but I've had the experience of figuring out how far this sprays. I honestly don't start using it until I know, like dead sure, it's almost like 3 arms lengths would be about it for me. But I'm going to have this probably out already, but just, not like in a menacing way. Maybe I wait. But in any event, that's why I think it's a great idea to carry an impact weapon, even if it's just something small and light like this thumper from Tactical Gear, which is extremely small and light, really lends itself to an easy carry. And you could also put some screws in there to give it even more bumps. I just think that it makes sense and it allows you to kind of stand down your knife a little bit. So you don't have to feel like, well, I got to have this giant piece on me, or I got to have this Pikal fighting knife or whatever. I can just have a knife that's a knife. And obviously, look, I function almost like this doesn't exist because this truly is, for me, either totally last ditch or somebody is run up on me and has me in some weird jujitsu hold and is like, not listening to me. I don't know them, right? This isn't a friend joking around. And so now they're trying to like break my arm. And so I've decided to relieve them of the use of their arm. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but most of the jiu-jitsu people they don't train combatives at all. Like they have no idea. They've not put the thought into it. If I tackle somebody and they have a knife, like, how exposed am I? How quickly do I need to get away? And the answer is as soon as you can, because that's going to get real messy real quick. But in any event, I just wanted to chat a little bit about it. That's about all she wrote for this one. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. Hope you folks have a good rest of your day. Bye now.